What's going on, good kind of people? You are checking out the RCWR show, covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Here we are for September 29th, 2021. Couple of minutes removed from AEW Dynamite. We got ourselves a new TNT champion, and his name is Sammy Guevara. Oh, man. I did not think that was going to happen on this week's Dynamite. I gotta be honest with you guys. It totally blindsided me. I did not see us coming. I did not. I thought for sure we were gonna see Miro come out of that still as the TNT champion. And look, the little bit that I saw, because by the time this match had started, I actually was in the studio putting the final touches on the show for tonight, getting everything rocking, ready to go. And so I only caught probably, if I was lucky, I probably caught about the last 4 minutes of the match. So I actually got to go back and watch the match in its entirety because I missed a whole lot. But the little bit that I did see looked like it was a very enjoyable match. High-paced, fast action type of a matchup. Really nice, good back and forth. Guevara coming out of that looking pretty strong and everything. But wow, to see Sammy Guevara come out of that as the new TNT champion, really, it took me off guard. I'm not sure if it had took many of you AEW fans off guard, but for me, it really took me off guard because I looked at it from the standpoint of, well, Miro's good, and we just literally got introduced to Sammy Guevara pretty much picking up that flag, waving it as far as trying to avenge his buddy in Fuego del Sol. So this new chapter that we've got going on, particularly with Miro, Sammy, all right, we're pretty much just getting this started and all that. So this is probably going to bleed on for a couple of weeks and everything. But yeah, it seems, we could pretty much blow that out as we went in a completely another direction and everything. Look, I'm not going to crap on it. I know there's going to be a lot of Miro fans, though, that are going to be pretty salty about this. Let's be honest. There's going to be a lot of Miro fans that are going to be looking at this and they're going to be wondering what the hell is going on. You know, what the fuck is going on with AEW? How could they do this? Miro's like one of the best cool things that's going on right now. Why would they do something like this? This doesn't make any sense. And I know there's going to be a decent amount of people that's going to be looking at that. Trust me. Because honestly, when you look at the role that Miro has been on thus far, yeah, as far as Miro and Sammy, if you honestly said to yourself, nah, Miro's going to be working with Sammy for the next handful of weeks, but Miro's going to come out of it still the TNT champion, there's nothing wrong if that was the mindset that you had. Because remember, we were just here, if not, I'm trying to think, maybe we touched upon it Monday, or maybe we brought it up on last week's show, but I remember bringing up some names as far as, okay, who's next? And I remember talking about Jungle Boy, if you guys recall. I remember bringing up his name and a few other people as far as who could potentially be next and all that. And to go in this direction, I mean, I'm okay with it. Contrary to how some of you guys may feel, I'm actually okay with it. I am. And I think I'm mainly okay with it because the body of work that Sammy Guevara has been putting out there on a consistent basis for the past several months, I don't want to say it should be rewarded, but it kind of actually should. I mean, he's put in the time, he's put in the dedication. You know, for the most part, he's done his very best to keep himself steering in the right direction and all that, staying out of trouble and everything. And, you know, he's been the unsung hero in AEW, so to speak. If you really kind of take a step back and you just think about everything that you've seen in AEW these past several months, I mean, you know, really from its inception and just pretty much going all the way till now and everything. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Sami Callihan. I wish it was Sami Callihan. I don't have a problem with Sammy Guevara as a new TNT champion. But what I'm more curious about is, okay, now that we've gone in this direction, what's next? What's next, particularly for Miro? I would like to believe. Now, I have to rely on you guys because as I was starting to get the show ready, and I also was going back and forth with the wifey because there was an important errand we actually had needed to do today, but she's just now getting in the house and wants to know if we can do that errand. I'm like, babe, you know I do a show live Wednesday nights. I don't know about that. So as far as I know, we're going to be doing a regular show because I told her, I said, let me know. And push come to shove, we could just do an abbreviated version of the show tonight. I was actually prepared to just do about an hour's worth of showtime tonight, but I think she actually wants to maybe go on ahead and tomorrow and everything, which is good. But as I was juggling both of those things going on, getting the show ready and then going back and forth with the missus, one thing I kind of heard at the tail end of Dynamite tonight was something along the lines of Sammy Guevara was going to be speaking about becoming the new TNT champion. And what I couldn't quite hear is, was that going to be part of Rampage this Friday or what? I would like to believe, I'd like to have the impression, yeah, that's actually going to be part of Rampage. It would make all the sense in the world since you pretty much got your guys right there and everything. So I don't know, a little bit kind of about that one. So, but Miro, what's next? I think Miro, Sammy, I still feel that they're just getting started. I think now it's about Miro coming after Sammy and basically, hey, that championship, it was a fluke. I can literally see Miro destroying the living hell out of Fuego del Sol and just on a absolute war path, trying to do everything in his power to get back what he feels is rightfully his, which is that TNT championship. And I can see Miro and Sammy locking it up yet again for the championship. So make no mistake about it. I don't see this being a case where, okay, that's it, Sammy won, and now we got Miro in this position where the title's off of him. That's it. I don't see it just as clear-cut as that, and these guys aren't going to be working together again. Nah, it's going to keep on going. So you guys just chill, enjoy the ride for what it was worth. But I wish I could say a lot more about that match. It is what it is. I only actually saw the last few minutes of that match. Great episode of Dynamite, paying homage there to Brodie Lee, John Huber. And unless you are not on social media today, maybe you haven't even checked out AEW Dynamite yet. It was a great day for all Brodie Lee fans, a great day for the John Huber family, particularly because they made the announcement. They put out a press release and everything that what's been created in John Huber's memory is the John Huber Foundation, a foundation in his name. And it's really, really cool what they're doing with this foundation. I actually want to read to you guys the press release that was put out about this foundation earlier today. It's actually a pretty short press release, believe it or not. It doesn't get any shorter than the type of press release that they had put out, but it gives you a really good idea about what the foundation is going to be all about, and I love it. I love it. But the press release is as follows: on the same day, All Elite Wrestling makes its debut in John Huber's hometown of Rochester, New York. His family and friends are announcing the creation of the John Huber Legacy Foundation. The foundation will focus on providing support to people in creative fields who have not taken the next step in their career because of family obligations. Quote, John almost gave up on his dream of wrestling because of his family, end quote, said Amanda Huber. Quote, but he got the call to move up to WWE while we were in the hospital with our first child. I can't think of a better way of honoring his commitment to family and his career than to help other people who are facing the same dilemma, end quote. Beginning in 2022, the foundation will select a group of creative individuals to support with resources, connections, practical skills, and direct funding. The cohort will meet throughout the year to learn from experts in areas including business planning, artist management, public relations, brand management, finances, and IP law. These skills and connections will help them provide for their families while also helping them pursue their dreams. Quote, many artists and wrestlers are never taught how to manage their finances, investments, and assets in a way to make sure their family is secure, said Chris Huber, the brother of John Huber, Brother Lee there. Like our father, John always wanted to make sure he was making decisions that were the right decision, not only for his career, but for his family. The foundation will announce its first application round in early 2022. Now, if you guys are interested, you want to learn more, maybe you know somebody that you think might be a good candidate for this, head on over to the John Huber Legacy Foundation.org. Again, that's johnhuberlegacyfoundation.org, or you can shoot them a email, info at, do the at symbol, info at johnhuberlegacyfoundation.org. One more time, info at johnhuberlegacyfoundation.org. This is great. This is phenomenal news. I love this tremendously. I tell you what, and look, I can totally relate to their mission goal for this foundation. You know, you're going to have a lot of people. See, anybody can easily just read the press release and just say, oh, this is pretty good. That's cool. But when you got somebody like me that has that experience, can speak upon that experience, knows what it's like to be a young kid, and you don't really have that much input from your parents as far as, okay, yeah, you may have told me what you think would be a really good career job, but as far as continuing education, looking at the schools, trying to figure out how I'm going to get the money together to go to these schools, what financial options are available to me, understanding more about student loans, how to avoid being in student debt, looking into board, housing, all of that type of stuff. You know, for myself and my friends, when, you know, we were growing up, you know, as product childs of the 80s, and then we're going into our teenage years in the 90s there. You know, when it came time for us to get ready to go to college, you know, we were like deers in a headlight. Stay with me, because this connects back to this John Huber Foundation that was created. You know, we're struggling. You know, we don't know exactly who to go to. We don't know exactly what we're supposed to be asking for. None of those things. So we're like a deer in freaking headlights, okay? And our parents weren't really that much help, because, you know, for myself and my friends, you know, sadly, this was a case where either we had parents that did not go to college, so we pretty much were the first of our respective generation to go to college, or it was a case where, you know, they pretty much just said, I don't know anything about that. You know, surely they got some people at the school that can help you out. And so pretty much we're fending for ourselves. And then when we do, you know, I can't really speak for my friends and all that at the time, but I know for me, when I figured out, okay, these are the 3, possibly 4 colleges that I want to go to. And when it came time for me to present all the information, you know, to my parents, you know, I really could not get that type of feedback from them whatsoever, because we're talking about a career defining moment and everything. And yeah, you know, all parents, they try to teach their kids the value of $1. Hey, if you do your house chores, you do it on time, you do it like it's supposed to be done, you get X amount of money, you know, by the end of the week. And, you know, but you don't really truly, you know, well, I think it depends on the household. But I know for me, for my friends, you know, we really weren't given that true hardcore value of understanding the dollar, the importance of saving, things of that nature. And I tell you what, I was telling somebody this a couple of months ago, because a question was brought up, actually by one of you, the listeners. Question was brought up, and somebody had asked me a question, and it went like this. They said, if you could be born in any era, what era would you like to be born in? And I said, that's a good question. And I said, probably the 2000s, actually, maybe about the mid 2000s, because when you look at all of the accessibility and resources that are available for kids today, it is a lot more transparent. There are so much more resources that are available than it was when I was a kid growing up in the 80s, 90s, right? I mean, it's just wow. It's just wow. It pales in comparison to my respected era. So many times I have heard stories over the years, whether it be checking out a shoot interview of a wrestler and they are pretty much telling their own pity party stories about how they weren't really able to manage their money, and they got caught up, with the road, with the character, all this type of stuff. Too many times you hear about sad stories like that. Too many times you hear about wrestlers that, hey, I want to be a wrestler, but I'm not exactly sure where to start, or, hey, I want to be a wrestler, but I know that can't be forever. So I need a backup plan because that can end just like that. So what's going to be my backup plan? And sadly, not a lot of wrestlers, I would say it's changed a bit dramatically within the past. I would say within the past 10 years, from what I've noticed, it seems that the wrestlers that are, that have been running around for the past 10 years, maybe about 10 years plus, it seems now they are, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be 60, 70 years old running out there and still in the ring in tights. Nah, that's not going to be me. Yeah, maybe some autograph sessions here and there, but I'll be damn if I'm 60 or 70 and I'm still in the ring doing, nah. I'm going to save up as much money as I can, open up some businesses, maybe open up my own training academy, school or whatnot, and I'm going to try to get out while I'm still relatively young and I'm still healthy. That's like the number one game that's going on now with, a majority of these wrestlers that are running about now. I think that's definitely a fair assessment. Hell, look at what we just talked about on Monday's RCWR show with the Seth Rollins interview on Broken Skull Sessions. 35 years old, and Rollins has his own training academy that's been open for a handful of years now. He just opened up two coffee shops. He's got one of them that's literally right next door to his training academy. So we also talked about, and we had showed a lot of love there to Selena De La Renta, right? And the stuff that she's doing as far as her education. She's got a knack for video, audio production and all of that, right? So it's nice to hear that you've got this John Huber Foundation that's been created that's going to help people out, obtaining the respected resources that they need and everything, give them the skills, the connections, to better themselves, better their family and all that. I love it. It's good. So I tell you what, I'm definitely going to be paying very close attention to this, and I'm looking forward to hearing those that are going to be selected, and hopefully the foundation will share a little bit more information, introduce us to some of these first wave of participants that's going to be receiving some type of help from this foundation. So you got this foundation, you got AEW working with the Owen Hart Foundation, just awesome. And then look, on top of that, I don't know how many of you guys are even aware of this, because it was not even mentioned on AEW Dynamite programming tonight. Now, maybe that'll change, and maybe they will make some type of a nod to it on Friday's Rampage. But in case you didn't know, there's also a Brodie Lee documentary that's running around right now. I don't know how many of you guys are aware of that, but yeah, there is a Brodie Lee documentary that is out and about right now, and the only way that you can check it out is at a movie theater in Rochester, New York, actually. And the documentary, if you bear with me a second, I actually still might have it saved on my phone because I remember checking it out and I had bookmarked it and everything. And if I don't have it, I'll at least definitely give you guys the information here. But yeah, it had premiered last night. The name of the documentary is This Is Brodie Lee. That's the name of the documentary. And it played at the Movies 10 in Rochester, New York. And the documentary, of course, telling the story, life, career of Brodie Lee, pretty much starting off there with the backyard wrestling, the local backyard wrestling, then going through the indies, making the stop to the WWE, and then making the final stop there to AEW. It covers it all. It's a 3-hour documentary that's produced by WrestleVision, and it's in association with Classy Wolf Media. So, you know, that good deal if you're in that area, because the tickets for that, $10. You can't beat that. Doesn't matter what time you go and check out the film, $10. Cannot beat that. So there's a trailer that's out for it right now. The trailer was actually released earlier of this year. What I'm not sure about right now is if this documentary is eventually going to get a statewide release, or if it's just going to be maybe in limited cities. But I'm definitely going to continue to do my best to stay on top of this for you guys. And I'm going to actually make it be my business to see if I can actually get in contact with the people that's behind this film. Because if there's some type of a way I can end up checking this out and providing a review for it, that would be awesome, because I would love to be able to give you guys feedback of this documentary and go from there. But I would like to believe that maybe it's going to get some type of a limited run as we get closer to the holidays, like maybe around the Thanksgiving period. You know, maybe it'll be playing in select theaters. I wouldn't be surprised if it was kind of one of those. Like, I don't see it getting the AMC, although then again, you don't know. You don't know. Never say never, because, you know, we're in this day and age right now where not everybody is rushing to go back to the movie theaters, particularly the older folks. The older folks are not rushing to go to the theaters, whereas the younger folks are. We kind of talked about this last week as we pointed to that new Clint Eastwood movie being an example, because you looked at the box office numbers for that, you know, pretty low and all that. But I'll stay on top of that Brodie Lee documentary for you. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised that it was not talked about on tonight's Dynamite, since this was essentially a Brodie Lee tribute episode. So again, look, not for nothing, maybe they'll talk about it on Friday's Rampage, and maybe by then they'll have a little bit more information as far as when folks will be able to check it out and everything. You know, keep your fingers crossed on that one. Keep your fingers crossed. Now, look, before we go any further, I definitely want to get into some AEW Dark results, because AEW Dark was yesterday. We talked about Dark Elevation results on the Monday show already, but we didn't talk about AEW Dark results. So here's the results for Dark for September 28th. Was pretty damn good here too, from what I'm seeing here. It looks like, actually, bear with me a second here. I got to respond to that one. Now, I'll respond to that later. Okay, so here are your results. Thunder Rosa defeated Nikita Knight via submission, 3 minutes, 51 seconds. Santana Garrett was interviewed. Yeah, so you fans of Santana Garrett officially made her AEW debut on this week's Dark, as that was a nice little surprise. She talked about how happy she was to be there, and before she could continue any further into her promo, she got interrupted by Diamante, and now they've got a match that's set up for next week's Dark, as Diamante will face Santana Garrett. So I'm very happy to hear that Santana Garrett is now in AEW, because look, in regards to Santana Garrett, and it's kind of interesting because when you see Santana Garrett, she may not look familiar to you guys because she's changed up her hair quite a bit. Even kind of has, yeah, I'll give her the nod. It even has a new color. The style, all that, it's all new. So you might not recognize her off the break, but it's actually her. I'm happy that, she is in AEW now. I'm just happy to see her on my TV on a weekly basis, and I look forward to seeing what she's going to be able to do going forward. I felt that of all the women, when she was over there in WWE on the NXT side, and then it kind of seemed as though she had got the promotion there, and when she got elevated, what was it? Didn't she get elevated to Raw? My mind's a little bit fuzzy now, but it was kind of rare that we saw her on the main show, is the point that I'm making. But if there was anybody that, and look, if you want to say I'm biased, you can go ahead and give me that when it comes to Santana Garrett, because I've been a fan supporter of her work for years now, for many years now. My God, I probably go back on Santana Garrett's work. I honestly, no bullshit, I would say probably about 2012. Maybe 2013. That's how long I've been a fan of Santana Garrett's work. I felt that she had everything as far as what higher ups in WWE was looking for, moving up that chain and everything. I definitely felt she was the one, and for whatever respected reasons, it didn't work out. So I've told you guys repeatedly, ever since AEW's inception, that its women's division, yeah, it was off to a rocky start for sure, but now you fast forward all this time later and you see where that women's division is now. It has made leaps and bounds of tremendous improvement, and I really like where their women's division is now. I really, really do. Hey, I want to take this time out and thank those of you that's tuning in live right now. Appreciate you guys. Whether you're tuning in via Twitter, I see we got the Twitter stream that's rocking and a rolling. I like that. It's been kind of hit and miss, actually. I haven't done anything wrong, but it seems that once I had connected our Twitter account to OBS and everything, it was weird because one show, Twitter gets it. The next show, Twitter doesn't get it. Tonight, Twitter gets it. So I think it's just an issue with the integration system when it's all said and done. And it's kind of like a hit and miss here and there. Nothing that I'm doing wrong, but because Periscope, they finally had kicked Periscope to the curb not that long ago. They kicked that bad boy to the curb. What was, I think Monday, actually. I think Monday they finally just officially pulled the plug on that bad boy. So it is what it is. But yeah, whether you're checking out on Twitter, you're checking out on YouTube or Facebook, appreciate that. Let's see. Keep rocking and rolling here. We were talking about the Santana Garrett interview. We already talked about Thunder Rosa defeating Nikita Knight. Continuing on with your AEW Dark Results, Private Party defeated Charlie Bravo and GDX via pinfall. Kiera Hogan defeated Layla Gray via pinfall, 3 minutes. 10 with -1, Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Allen 5 Angels defeated Brandon Gore via submission. So basically it was 10 that was in competition against Brandon Gore. And Adrian Juade and Cesar Bonini defeated Ryzen and Jake St. Patrick via pinfall. 3-minute change matchup. Lance Archer had a squash match victory over Arjan Singh. Ricky Starks defeated Darius Lockhart via pinfall. 3 minutes and change of a match. Dark Order, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson defeated Adrian Alanis and Liam Gray via pinfall. About 3 minutes, 14 seconds. Julia Hart defeated Rika Tahaka. Bear Country defeated Jamison Ryan and Brick Aldridge. Matt Sydal, I believe this was your main event. Matt Sydal and Dante Martin defeated The Factory. And that was AEW Dark. Those are all your matches for this week's AEW Dark. So pretty decent card that we got for AEW Dark this week. So good stuff right there. Also keeping on rocking and rolling here as we're talking Dynamite here. First matchup of the night, Jungle Boy taking on Adam Cole. Fantastic. That was a fantastic banger opener of a match. You know, remember, this was a match that Adam Cole had been talking about for a couple of weeks now, leading up to him actually having it. He was very excited to be taking on Jungle Boy. And I tell you what, man, great chemistry between both of these men tonight, between Jungle Boy and Adam Cole. And, you know, I'm just at a point, I don't know if you guys have really been peeping this out, if you guys have really noticed this, but when you just think about the people that Jungle Boy has had the pleasure in working with these past several weeks, if that doesn't prove to you that certain people in AEW, they do respect the hell out of Jungle Boy, they love them some Jungle Boy, and they see nothing but good things happening for him in his respected career, I don't know what to tell you, because you think about the people that has worked with Jungle Boy so far in some capacity, and it's evident that he's highly respected. He's highly thought of. CM Punk, The Elite, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Christian Cage. I mean, you just look at all of those names and you just say to yourself, yeah, you know what? Holy shit, right? I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. And the young man is only, what, 24? 24 years of age. And so far, this far in his career, up to this point, all of those names that he's been able to work with in some capacity, I mean, that's pretty good company to have. That's a pretty good endorsement to have, as far as, hey, you know, we definitely think you're on to something. We definitely think you are the future for AEW. We definitely think that you're the future of the business. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that for a respected rub-off. You feel where I'm coming from, guys? So very solid, very solid right there. But here's another opportunity right here for Jungle Boy. And the thing that I love most about Jungle Boy, you've seen it if you've been watching a lot of wrestling over the years. You see certain people, especially young upcomers, when they get these opportunities where they're working with established stars, established veteran stars, mega stars, and they'll be a little clunky. They'll be a little, maybe it's the starstruck, the inexperience kicks in, whatever you want to call it, but you can see they're a bit rattled. You can definitely see that they're a bit rattled. And yet, not the case for Jungle Boy. Every single opportunity that has come Jungle Boy's way, he has freaking grabbed it, and he has made the most out of it. And that's all that, honestly, you can ask. That's all you can honestly ask. And so, yeah, I'm really... You know, you got to forgive me, but I'm definitely pretty high on my boy, Jungle Boy, and I will continue to beat that drum and say, as far as, you know, future mega stars go, or OGs, original stars go for AEW, I'm going to continue to give Jungle Boy that respected nod because, yeah, I feel that he is that damn good, without a shadow of doubt. He is that damn good. Excellent opener. Awesome seeing Adam Cole being able to take the cheers from the fans, and those reactions, and spin it in such a unique way where he's able to get them to not like him, right? Because keep in mind, everybody likes Jungle Boy. Yeah, everybody likes Adam Cole, but Adam Cole is the heel right here. And so I love some of the stuff that Adam Cole was doing in this match tonight, just to reaffirm, okay, yeah, you may like me, but in this particular case, you're supposed to hate me, and these are the reasons why you're supposed to be hating me. And Adam Cole really did a good job spinning that narrative. Great matchup, about 15 minutes long, excellent matchup. Elite come in, and they're celebrating. Everybody's taking turns talking on the microphone. There's CM Punk chant. Now, we did get CM Punk tonight, but CM Punk was actually on the microphone. Not on the microphone, but he was actually on commentating, doing his thing. And, I thought it was funny from a storyline standpoint because you're thinking about, okay, Punk has been locking it up there with Team Taz over the past couple of weeks, and we saw a relatively decent matchup between him and Hobbs on last week's Rampage, but what's to stop Team Taz and them from coming out this week and beating the crap out of CM Punk? Like, wonder how we're gonna kind of counter that. And it was excellent the way that it was countered tonight. I don't know if this was a CM Punk audible or what, but CM Punk said that he taken out a Lloyd's of London insurance policy, so nobody is going to jump him, right? Now, for you younger listeners out there, because this was something that CM Punk had mentioned probably about total of 3 times throughout the broadcast tonight. For you younger folks out there and you don't know anything about a Lloyd of London insurance policy, basically, the best way I can describe it, it is this insane policy that pays out your full contract and then some if you're injured for any reason. Back in the day, most of the top stars in WCW, they had them, and there was a particular reason why you didn't see guys like Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Goldberg after WCW closed down. It was because the policies that they still had, they were still paying out, right? That was a part. That was a big part of it. Besides the whole AOL Time Warner deals that they had signed, and it was kind of like, oh, we can just kick back and just collect this fucking money. What the hell, right? Or Bret Hart would be another one. Bret Hart, after the shit that went down with Goldberg, right? And then Bret Hart, that is, he ended up having that stroke and all that while he was riding on his motorcycle. After all of that crap had went down, he pretty much, for the longest time, I don't know if he still has it to this day, but for the longest time, he had a Lloyd's of London contract. And or policy, I should say. He had a Lloyd of London's policy. And yeah, it is a great little safety insurance there. So the fact that CM Punk went there, I just thought that was a nice touch. So once he said that, that just pretty much, okay, so nothing's going to happen with CM Punk this week. Okay, excellent. CM Punk on commentating, welcome breath of fresh air. Just a welcome breath of fresh air. Look, I will continue to say we really don't need 4 people as a commentating team. We really, really, really do not, because it's too much. But I will say this. When you have the right person, see, here's the thing. When you've already got 3 people doing commentating and you're already feeling that chemistry between those three people, you go, okay, all right, this is nice. But then when you add a fourth person into the mix, you just go, okay, we might be getting a little bit in the overkill here. There might be a lot of power talking everybody's going to be doing with each other here, because you're trying to pick that right sweet spot to jump in, say what you need to say and everything. I don't really know if this is right. But in the case of CM Punk, not only has he been a refreshing breath of fresh air for commentating, but he fits in so perfectly and complements the hell out of Shivani, JR, and Excalibur. He really, really does. I mean, right down to the point, many times I had noticed during tonight's broadcast, I noticed that there were times where JR and even Shivani would back off just a little bit, and they would let Excalibur and Punk do their little thing or whatever. So it was nice. It was nice. And hell, there were times where Excalibur would just be quiet, and he pretty much would let Shivani, Punk, Ross do their thing. And then there are times where Excalibur and freaking Jim Ross would just, and it would be JR and Punk. It was like interesting little combinations where people were just backing off, and I loved it. I loved it tonight. It really, really had it really had flowed very well tonight. And normally I don't pay attention to the color commentating. I will most likely, usually I'll put it on mute, and I'll just have the closed captioning on, because I'm kind of old school like that. I actually try to focus more on what's going on with the in-ring presentation. The only time I will unmute is when somebody is getting ready to cut a promo. Then it's okay. All right, let me hear what they got to say. But normally I don't really be paying attention to the commentating unless I know ahead of time, okay, this person is going to be a special guest. Like earlier today, I saw the social media blast saying Punk was going to be a special commentator for the whole episode. I'm going, oh, okay, all right, well, I'll make sure that the audio's on. I don't have it muted and all that. So yeah, but he did good. I definitely would love to hear a lot more of Punk on commentating. Daniel Bryan comes out, by the way. I just think that was kind of badass, by the way. CM Punk comes out, getting the crowd nice and worked up. Everybody's enjoying his music. He eventually makes his way to the commentating table. He didn't cut a promo to the crowd. He just pretty much was greeting them, took his ass on over to the announce table. And then you have Adam Cole come out next. Right, so you got these two great banger hits of music that's just playing after the other, and then you follow it up with frickin' Jungle Boy, and you're like, oh, nice. But then we get down to some silliness. Which is after the match was over, we get the Elite. And their little music, you just go, man, we had like 3 banger hits of music that was playing. And now we get this cornball freaking music. Just fucking great. It was kind of like one of those type of deals. But Daniel Bryan comes out, and he's pretty much trying to get another match with Kenny Omega. He ends up calling him Kenny No Balls Omega. Fans were loving that, chanting the hell out of that. Good stuff. Look, I'm not taking any personal shots at Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, that is my boy. I love him to death. Seriously, love him to death. One of my favorites. But, man, can we do something with the white shirt? I'm not asking too much. But it's like every time we've been seeing Daniel Bryan since he's been in AEW, we see him in that damn white shirt. Yeah, the pants may switch up and all that, but we stay seeing the brother with that white shirt. Yo, we got to do something about that. Seriously. Whether it is we give him at least, look, here's the same fabric design shirt, just in different colors. I don't know what we need to do, but we got to do something We gotta do something. Maybe with the same fucking white shirt. Now, obviously, it's not literally the same white shirt, but you notice after a while. To each its own. But just me personally, I'm just telling you, if I see somebody that's constantly popping up week after week, and they're pretty much wearing the same kind of shirt, wearing the same kind of style, I just can't help but go, yeah, can we do something about that? Which leads me to this point. We can do this live on the air right now, which leaves me to wondering, what do we have as far as Daniel Bryan merchandise? Let's find out. I'm on Shop AEW as we speak. So let's see what's going on with Bryan Danielson. I'm going to type him in right now, and let's see what we got for him. All right, I got his card. Okay, let's click on it. Okay, so that's actually part of the problem. For Shop AEW, the only thing that Bryan Danielson has right now is the American Dragon is Back t-shirt. Nice font size. I'll definitely admit that. As a matter of fact, let me do this. I'm going to actually save this image. Give me a second, and I'll actually share it during the broadcast with you guys here. And for those of you that's going to be listening to the audio version of this, apologies in advance, but you guys can always just go on shopaew.com and pretty much look at it that way. I'm trying to see how I can. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let me take a screenshot of that. And bear with me here. I gotta save this. Hang on. Bear with me, guys. I'm gonna show you guys this. This shirt. Okay, and I'm going to paste this in here. Boom, perfect. Okay, and bear with me, guys. All right, I'm going to just do this. I'm gonna do this real quick. Okay, good. All right, I got the image. Now I just gotta save it and convert it. That's all. So bear with me here. It's only gonna take me a few seconds. And they want $24.99 for this shirt, by the way. $24.99 for this shirt, and it doesn't look like there's anything on the back of it. It's just a front logo design. That's basically it. Okay, now then, I've got my image. Let me come right here. And I've got it right now. Okay, you guys are about to see it in 3 seconds. All right, here we go. Check that out. Let me just minimize that. There you go. There's the AEW American Dragon is Back Bryan Danielson shirt. So when you only have one design right now, I mean, look, I kind of understand it, why Daniel Bryan has pretty much just been coming out in street clothes. I get that. And as far as AEW original merchandise goes, that's the only thing right now. Now, for those of you that may be a little bit curious and you're saying to yourselves, well, Lee, that's shopaew.com. What's going on as far as pro wrestling tees? Surely Bryan Danielson's got some stuff set up at Pro Wrestling Tees. I'm on Pro Wrestling Tees right now, and I will type his name. Okay, it's already loaded. Let me see what happens when I put in Bryan Danielson. Give me a second, folks, and I'll definitely tell you what's going on here. Because if it's essentially the same thing, then it really explains a lot. But let's see. Okay, I'm looking at his profile on the Pro Wrestling. Yeah, and it's the same thing, only one design right now. So I think a large part of the problem is probably the designs. So I'm going to say this. Bryan Danielson, maybe for the foreseeable future, at least going into late October, maybe it's going to be a case where we continue to see him in street clothes and all that. He's going to continue to push those blank shirts. Some people may find it to be refreshing and all that type of stuff, because after all, it doesn't always have to be about logos and catchphrases and things of that nature, and that kind of has a nice old school throwback type of feel when you really think about it. And I can definitely see where you guys are coming from those standpoints. But I will say probably by mid to late October, there should be more designs. I don't know. I just got this feeling that we're definitely going to be seeing him in more designs, if that be the case. Now, before I got off on that whole tantrum there, I got to digress. So Omega, not really down with Danielson's challenge. Danielson then just comes right back and says, look, I'll take any of you guys on. And somehow carnage just erupts as we see Jurassic Express, Kazarian, they all come out and they all try to go right after the Elite, but the Elite quickly hauled ass and made their exit. So kind of one of those to be continued deals. Second matchup, Matt Sydal, Dante Martin taking on Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson. Great matchup. Gotta say, though, Cody Rhodes getting the boos there. Getting the boos. Man, from the moment it was time for his entrance, homeboy was getting the boos. What I tell you guys, we talked about this on last Wednesday's show. Cody Rhodes, Lee Johnson picking up the win. I like the little moment in particular where Lee Johnson pretty much tagged himself in and pretty much the team gets the victory because Lee Johnson pretty much brought it on home. Fans just continue to boo the hell out of Cody, but here's where things really, really had got interesting here. Post-match, as Tony Schiavone enters the ring and he's trying to get comments from Cody, and the fans are just letting Cody have it. They are booing the hell out of this man. And Cody decides, okay, I know what's going on here. I know exactly what the audience wants, what they've been waiting for. Why not? What's going on with Malachi Black? Why doesn't he come out of here right now? Arn Anderson grabs the microphone and tells Cody to stop talking. And he points out how when Black came out on July 9th, pretty much destroying everybody in the Nightmare family, destroying Cody, asked Cody what the hell was going on there when you were taking off your boots. What the hell was up with that, right? I mean, he just starts laying it into him. Even about the fact that once Cody took those boots off, there were several weeks that went by where Cody didn't even talk to Arn. Arn brought that point up. Round 2, that's just all the stuff that was going on with Dustin, with Lee Johnson, with Brock Anderson, everything, just the whole totality of it. And he told Cody straight up, he said, you had an opportunity when you were facing Malachi Black a couple of weeks ago to finish him. What happens? Yeah, my ass took a fall and you were checking on me. You failed. The hell with me. You're supposed to go in there and finish the damn job. You didn't finish the damn job. You need to understand something. Malachi Black, that dude is an assassin. That dude is a predator. He will do anything in the world to pick up a victory. And Arn went a step further. This was my favorite part of the whole damn promo here that Arn had with Cody. Arn told Cody straight up, he said, there's a big difference between you and me. And he used a car analogy, which was if Cody were to come up on a red light and somebody comes and robs him of his car, tells him to get out, Cody's like, okay, yeah, please, just don't hurt me. Go ahead, take the car. Arn Anderson, on the other hand, he's going to pull out a fucking Glock and he's going to put it to that sumbitch's forehead and spill his brains But the fact that Arn Anderson actually said Glock and spill his brains, I mean, massive pop from the crowd, but your mouth is just dropping and you're going, holy shit. And like, as soon as that segment went down, I just couldn't help but just say, yo, whatever neighborhood Arn Anderson is in, I definitely want to stay as far away from that man as possible, because my black ass ain't trying to get shot by Double A. Seriously, my ass is not trying to get shot by him. That is just fucking ridiculous. That is fucking ridiculous. I see a question that's being asked about, normally we kind of go a little bit all over the place on the show. But I see a question that's being asked right now in regards to NWA and Impact Wrestling. Okay, so quick sidebar. When we're on live every Tuesday night and we're talking about NWA power footage, Fight TV. NWA is behind a paid subscription. It costs $5 a month. You can access it on Fight TV. So for you guys that's always hearing me talk about NWA and you're curious to know how you can check out NWA, normally I say, hey, we're covering NWA Fallout as seen on, Fight TV. But if that's something that I need to bring back verbally on a weekly basis, I will definitely say that. But yes, Fight TV, FITE TV, Fight TV. All right, so that's number one. And I see another question that's being asked about Impact. Man, there are multiple ways that you can check out Impact Wrestling. If you're trying to watch Impact Wrestling, there's multiple ways that you can check it out. The number one thing that you can do, depending on, and to anybody, depending on how your schedule is during the work week, new episodes of Impact drop, I believe, at 8 p.m. Eastern or 9 p.m. Eastern. It's one of those two time frames. If you go on Impact Wrestling's Twitch stream, you don't have to sign up. You don't have to do anything. All you got to do is just look up Impact Wrestling on Twitch. You'll be able to watch new episodes of Impact Wrestling on Thursdays in real time on Twitch. I don't know, because it's been a good minute. Normally, I work on Thursdays. But last I had saw Melissa, was it Melissa Santos? Yeah, last I had saw. Now I don't know if she's still doing it. I don't think she is, but that's how long it's been since I've seen the Twitch streams. But normally it would be Josh Matthews or Melissa Santos that would be doing the little commercial intermission joints when Impact Wrestling would take a break on, what is it, Access TV? I think it is. Is it Access TV? I think they're on Access TV now. It's been so long. But the other way that you can check out Impact Wrestling is by getting the Impact Plus subscription. That's another one that you can get either through Fight TV, or you can go directly to Impact Wrestling's website and pretty much get the subscription that way. Now, what do you get with that subscription? You get access to Impact Wrestling's entire library. So the glory days of TNA, you get access to. You get access to new episodes of Impact Wrestling typically the very next day. At the very latest, I have seen Thursday's episodes of Impact Wrestling uploaded on a Saturday. And the best part about the Impact app, if you're tech savvy like I am, you can smart view from your phone, open up the Impact app, smart view it to your TV, or if you got a tablet, smart view it to your TV, whatever the case may be. So there are definitely options that are out there if anybody is interested in checking those out. But yeah. Now, on a more interesting note, I wasn't going to bring this up until much later in the show, but since we're talking about, hey, how can I watch this? How can I watch that? Don't forget, you YouTube TV subscribers, that unless something happens Thursday of September 30th, that's it for all of those NBC channels that we were talking about on Monday's RCWR show. I'm not going to go too long-winded with that. For you guys that didn't check out Monday's show, y'all just going to have to piggy on back and check it out when you guys get a chance. But yeah, Thursday, September 30th, all those NBC channels are going to go bye-bye. That includes NBC local affiliated channels, right? So if you're used to, like out here in Washington, D.C., we've got WRC TV, NBC4, that's going to go bye-bye. NBC Sports Network, Comcast Sport, all that's going to go for us. The USA Network is going to disappear. The Golf Channel, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to disappear. I've already looked into a couple of new alternatives. Basically what I'm doing, and if you're a YouTube TV subscriber, you may have seen the email today where they tell you, oh, Peacock, they offer ways where, yeah, maybe for live sports, but if you're trying to watch new episodes of Law and Order or whatever your favorite TV show is in real time, Peacock does not give you those capabilities. Only in live sports do you have the capabilities of tuning in and checking out something, right? So Sling TV, Hulu TV. Now, Hulu TV at this point, that's something that I would probably, for those of you that got YouTube TV or you know somebody that has YouTube TV, I would highly recommend you encourage that friend, colleague, coworker, check out Hulu TV because they got a great deal that's going on right now, which is you can sign up and check them out for an entire month, free for an entire month. That gives you enough time to play around, really get a good feel, experience it, and all of that. See, what makes YouTube TV so wow, so kick-ass and truly a game changer where they have everybody else beat, the cloud storage space. Anybody that has Hulu, that has Sling, you know that shit about the whole DVR, 200 something hours of programming that's stored in the cloud, all that shit. Whereas YouTube TV, you ain't got to deal with no cloud storage limit bullshit. You just pay your flat out $64 a month for your basic cable package through YouTube TV, and you can just record as many shows as you want. There is no limit whatsoever. That's what's very, very attractive for the majority that has gone with YouTube TV. Another thing that's very attractive about YouTube TV that I can tell you off the break, because I actually was playing around with Hulu today, getting it ready and all that, was
Come on, fuckos, let's go for a ride.
Anthony with the super chat. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. I don't think, there's no message behind it. It's just a super chat. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Anybody else want to do a super chat, feel free to jump on in there. Be a Patreon member too. Remember, patreon.com/RCWR show. Chip in $5 a month. You get access to bonus audio and video content. I was playing around with Hulu TV today, and the one thing that I find very pleasing, just cosmetically, just design, interface, and all that wise, YouTube TV far superior, and I would put maybe Sling TV as second place for their channel layout interface. But I mean, YouTube TV above, bar none. Just the way it's so slick, so sleek, the design, the interface, the whole layout. As you're going through the channel guide there, you're very welcoming. Whereas Hulu, it's so cluttered and you're trying to figure out, okay, where exactly am I going here? What's what? And, look, if you ask me honestly, I'm going with Hulu just long enough until hopefully YouTube TV is able to straighten this shit out with NBC, Universal, and we can keep on rocking and rolling, because honestly, for what it was worth, I was okay But to now be in this position where I'm going to be able to access other channels that I normally would not have access to. So like, for example, I think it's with, I'm not sure if it's with Hulu or if it's with Sling. I got to go back and check. I think it's actually Sling. Sling TV has Vice. They've got, they've got Access TV. I'm trying to think what else they got. There was like a couple of other things that they had that I thought was, oh, that's pretty pleasing to the eye. Oh, okay, that's cool. But you guys got your options. If you care about the USA Network, I mean, it really just depends. You know, if you're all about watching the USA Network in real time on Monday nights when it comes to WWE Raw, football season is here. Man, look, normally some shit like this goes down and it ain't the football season. I'm going, okay, well, that don't affect me. I'm good. But, you know, for me particularly, we're talking about at least roughly 25% as far as the stuff that I watch. And I'm even including wrestling related stuff. We're talking about just what's going on with this NBC YouTube TV breakdown. That's 25% of my programming that I would no longer be able to watch because of this stupid shit that's going on. So I would definitely say, if you want my honest opinion, go with Hulu TV. Don't cancel your YouTube TV membership. I know a lot of people are like racing to just, you have this option. There's an option where you can pause it. I got to make sure I at least mention this before we continue. Tell anybody this too, or show them this portion of the show. There's a section in the membership when they're looking at the billing options. There's an option where you can either cancel or you can pause your membership. If you pause your YouTube TV membership, you will not be billed. I repeat, you will not be billed. And basically all of your YouTube TV recordings, anything that is, I'm assuming anything that is set to be recorded will continue to be recorded. And it'll be like that for about, if you actually bear with me a second, because they sent me an email earlier today, because I had paused it earlier today. And I can tell you here in 3, 2, and 1, where is it's this email. There we go. Yeah. So they tell you, like, so this was me today. They're like, hey, Lee, your membership will be paused starting September 30th, 2021, and will resume November 25th, 2021. You won't be charged during this time. Enjoy YouTube TV until September 30th, 2021. We can't wait to welcome you back. When you return, your current library, account settings, and notifications will resume as before. As always, any recordings older than 9 months will expire. Any family members' accounts linked to your membership will also be paused during this time. And they tell you, if you want to come back sooner, yada, 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 you can do all that. So don't be so quick to hit the cancel joint. I recommend you just pause it and then go to your calendar or put a reminder in your phone and mark when it's going to resume, and just hopefully leading up to that time period, all that shit will be squashed. And if you want, you can, like, if you were to ask me straight up, Lee, if they're able to settle this shit, do you see yourself going back to YouTube TV? Yeah, I actually do see myself going back to YouTube TV. I actually do. I mean, look, I think that's great in the meantime that there are certain other channels I'll be able to watch. But, I didn't have a problem with YouTube TV until this shit. So, yeah, FYI. I'll tell you something else that's actually kind of cool, too. I don't know how many of you guys are fans of Tubi TV. Tubi TV, that's just totally free. Totally free. They've got all kinds of... if you're like really, really on a tight budget and you can't even, you don't care to watch live stuff. You're not really a fan of live stuff. You just want to watch some shit. Whether you feel like a movie, you feel like binging on some vintage TV shows, Tubi TV is the place for that. But if you also want to check out like new original shows, get live news, because they do have a live news section, and some of those channels that they got is 24/7. Tubi TV is a great alternative. No credit card is required. You are not asked for a credit card whatsoever. You could just download the Tubi TV app on any device, and you can pretty much watch your shit. That's it. That's my go-to. Donnie Simpson. I'm not sure how many of you guys know about Donnie Simpson, but he is a big radio personality. When you go back to the vintage old school days of BET, he was the man. His face was all over the place. He used to host a TV show called Video Soul. Long story short, it took him some years, but he finally was able to bring the show back. And so he's back with new episodes. And from what I understand, the series is only available on Tubi TV. So that's another alternative for you guys that's looking to kind of switch it up a little bit. Maybe check out some new stuff. Keep Tubi in TV in mind as well. Tubi TV, TUBI, and then TV. Orange Cassidy, Dark Order versus the Matt Hardy family. About 7 minutes and change. I mean, honestly, what this was really all about, I personally feel, this was all about the Brodie Lee family. That's honestly how I looked at this moment, particularly, especially when -1 came on out there. Every time I see -1, I just get this big old smile on my face. And, it's just to see the amount of love, appreciation, and respect that has been shown towards Brodie Lee, and how it has trickled down to the family, and just how the family in the most clutch moment has been there for that widow and for the children, but particularly for -1 there. It's just so admirable. It really, really is. And I love the fact that the majority of the fans have the same sentiments I do, but you got those sick, twisted, warped individuals that like to try to take certain things and make it fit their narrative. And, why is that little kid out there? You got some people that just, no matter what, you just can't make them happy for shit, nor should you try to make them happy. You could do any and everything, and they're just going to find something to bitch about. Those people, you just ignore. Seriously, you just ignore and keep doing your thing. But, it was a great little sentimental moment to see the part where Evil Uno, I'm trying to remember if it was maybe Stu Grayson. I know it was Evil Uno, but he's like, bump this, I'm out of here. Cole Cabana was walking out as well, and then you got Brodie Lee's wife coming out there, -1, Tay Conti, they're all coming out there like, what the hell are you doing? And then see -1 just throw those papers at them, tell them to get their asses back in the ring. I marked out for that. That was just a really cool moment. It's like, come on, man, one night, just one night only. You guys can't get on the same freaking page. It's like we're in Brodie Lee's hometown and you guys can't get on the same page for one night. What the hell is wrong with you? Right? So I love seeing all of those guys. Okay, let's squash this. Let's just one night. Let's go in there. Let's freaking do this. Dark Order, Orange Cassidy picking up the dub. Post-match, -1 being put on the shoulders there. Let me actually look at that image. I'm not going to show you guys that image, but if you got social media, definitely owe it to yourself to go and look for that image. I know I had put it out there on my Twitter page. I did share it on my Twitter page. I think he was on the shoulders of 10. I'm looking at the picture right now. I'm pretty sure it was actually 10. And I put a tweet out about that. I said, it doesn't get any cooler than this. Kid gonna remember moments like this for years to come, and the people surrounding and comforting him and his family in their time of need. And that's the honest truth. That's the honest truth. We forget how soon many of us forget, especially when so much time has passed, sometimes you got to pump the brakes and you got to take a step back and say, hey, we all were kids at some point, and we know how impressionable we were as a child. The things that we saw, the things that were said to us, it left such a profound impact on us. It's pretty much followed us to this very day and will probably continue to be with us until the day we die. And just everything that has been happening to that family and the people that have gotten involved and done their very best to continue on the Brodie Lee legacy and share their stories, with the family, with the children, the children particularly, that's the stuff they're going to continue to remember for many years to come. And I can't wait to see what happens with that young man 10 years from now. I'm most curious. To see what's going to be happening with him. Is it going to be a case where he is going to follow in his dad's footsteps as far as being a pro wrestler? Is he going to be interested in pursuing outside interests from wrestling? What's going to go on there? I'm most curious to see. Tay Conti, Anna Jay having a tag team match against Penelope Ford and Bunny. Tay Conti, Anna Jay picking up the dub. This one right here was a little bit sloppy to start, but it kind of seemed as they were going into their commercial break, because I believe we had continued to see the action in picture-in-picture. So during the picture-in-picture and then when the match resumed, it seemed as though they were able to pretty much clean everything up and, decent. But I got to continue to be consistent here, especially if you've been checking out my AEW Rampage reviews on the 411 Mania site. You guys know I haven't been a fan of this whole stuff that's been going on here. No disrespect to Tay Conti. Tay Conti is awesome as always. And honestly, the fact that she was thrown into the mix here for this tag match, it made it a little better. If there was a good analogy that I could use right here, it's almost, I'm just going to shoot the first analogy that comes into my mind. And as always, it's a food analogy. Okay. Everybody at some point has tasted bad popcorn, especially if you've been the victim of, wow, I don't want to pay X amount of money for Orville Rettenpacher or whatever the fuck that popcorn name is. Like, I don't want to pay for that. That's too pricey. I don't want to pay for, insert the name of that good quality popcorn. Or hell, even Harris Teeter. Harris Teeter brand, they've got excellent movie butter popcorn. If you've never tried Harris Teeter's popcorn, check it out. Money's kind of tight. I'm going to go ahead and get this generic, I've never heard this name before, but I'm going to get this. You make that popcorn tastes like shit. And you go, there's got to be something I can do to make this popcorn better. Maybe you grab that little jar of Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning, you pour a little bit on the popcorn. You're like, that's making it a little bit more edible, but still kind of, right? So I look at Tay Conti as that bomb-ass bottle of Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning, and the stuff that's been going on with Anna Jay and the Bunny. I just look at that shit, Penelope Ford. I just look at that shit as bad popcorn. Right, I know that's kind of a fucked up thing to say, but you guys expect me to be honest with you guys, so I'm giving it to you all right in between the eyes. MJF. Oh, by the way, this Friday's Rampage, one of the main event matches of the night, it's going to be Jade, Thunder Rosa, Nyla Rose, triple threat match. Should be badass. We get a promo from MJF. MJF talks about how he wants for the company to be successful, and he's willing to do his part by any means to make sure it happens. He also mentions that there's a handful of young men who've been in AEW since day one that he knows will be doing their part in helping steer the company in the right direction for the next handful of decades. And you're like, whoa, MJF is giving props to certain people. What's going on here? And then as he goes off the names, he starts mentioning 4 pillars. Jungle Boy, beat him. Sammy Guevara, beat him. Darby Allin, whatever. And the strongest pillar, himself, he puts over. Well, Darby Allin, not really taking too kindly to some of the things that was being said there. He comes on out. And, man, I tell you what, MJF, he had the fucking line of the night. You thought that what Arn Anderson had said earlier in the night, you thought that was something. No. That's nothing in comparison to what MJF had to say to one Darby Allin. And it was just the most fucked up thing I've ever heard in my entire life here. Oh, I loved it. I fucking loved it. I got to take to Twitter here because I had tweeted this out. But he had the line of the night here. And I got to give him a lot of props for this. Let's see. Hang on here. I'm trying to see if I can find that exact quote. It's like, that's the fucking line, man. Bear with me. Yeah. So after he sees Darby Allin get into the ring, he says to him straight up, as much as I love the whole school shooter, I'm on a skateboard routine. I'll get that to you again. As much as I love the whole school shooter, I'm on a skateboard routine. I fucking howled. I mean, I had tears streaming down my face. I was fucking on the damn floor. That shit. I like, no, he did it. And I mean, the crowd was just pissed. Instant white heat. That crowd, he had them in the palm of his hands, and they were just shitting on him for the rest of the damn segment. I mean, that was just, I loved it. I fucking loved it right there. But then it got worse. MJF really, really went deep on MJF, saying, hey, I know why you went straight edge. You care to remind these people why you went straight edge? And he proceeded to tell the folks the story about how there was just this one fateful night where Darby Allin and his uncle, they were behind a wheel, and basically there was alcohol involved, and the uncle died. That's not why I'm chuckling. The uncle died in that car accident, and MJF came right back and he said something along the lines of, this was rough. This was fucking rough. He said that the wrong guy died in that automobile accident. So, I mean, you already got the fans just chewing him out with the whole skateboarder thing. They really were chewing him out right here. And he says to Darby Allin, hey, you want to hit me? Go ahead. You want to deck me? Go ahead. I'm standing right here. Darby doesn't go for it. Darby does not go for it. He just closes his eyes and looked like he was kind of looking for his inner chi or whatever. And he tells MJF, I'm not going to hit you. You're not going to break me mentally. Anything else you got to say? Go ahead. Keep talking. Get it off your chest. Go ahead. I'm right here. Keep on talking. MJF didn't like that. And he pretty much had Wardlow walk with him. They were done with their segment. So who won that one, right? It's kind of one of those type of deals. Yeah. There's one match we had missed too. I can't believe I had almost forgot about this one. Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin was earlier in the night. It was actually the third matchup of the night. They took on undefeated Bear Country and Anthony Green. Squash match. Just a squash match. Darby Allin, Kingston, Moxley picking up the win. By the way, I got to show some love to Jon Moxley. He has a new book that is going to be coming out. It's titled Moxley. And it's basically an autobiography. It talks about his life growing up in Cincinnati, Ohio. It talks about him getting into the wrestling business, going through the indies, So check that out. It's supposed to be dropping on November 2nd. I'm actually in the process right now of trying to see if I could maybe get some advance copies. And if so, keep your fingers crossed, because I will definitely give away a copy or two if I'm able to get my hands on them. Otherwise, I am prepared to order a couple of copies. It's actually pretty damn cheap. I mean, it's only $14 for a hardcover copy. So I might, if I don't get anything from the publishers, I actually might buy 3 copies, one for myself, and I'll probably entertain for sure giving away the other 2 copies, FYI. So, hey, look, we're on a real tip though. I hope that this autobiography, and CM Punk had brought up a really good point when the book was being plugged, because that's how I have found out about this book, was tonight through Dynamite. And CM Punk said something along the lines of, "We sure he really wrote that book? You sure that it's not just full of pictures?" I howled at that one, and I just, as soon as CM Punk said that, not only did I howl in laughter on that one, but I'm also thinking to myself, well, hopefully this book is much more insightful and as open as opposed to the infamous Broken Skull podcast that was on the WWE Network some years back. Oh my God, don't even get me started on that one. Fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. So tell me, so when you were growing up, doing a little bit of research on you. Yeah, what? When you were growing up, yeah, you were kind of poor there. You were on, tell Stone Cold, what? You were on food stamps, right? You were doing the food stamps, the monopoly money, the poor people's money. Give food, lots of food for your family. You get the dairy products, you get the cheese, you get the fruit, you get the meat, you get all that. The WIC program, the government program, government cheese. Tell Stone Cold about that. And Moxley is just, what? Huh? No. I mean, that was the most, of all the interviews I have seen over the years. I've dished out interviews. I've listened to interviews. Of all the interviews that I have seen over the years, that was by far one of the worst interviews. And it wasn't because of Steve Austin. Steve Austin did nothing wrong. It's just Moxley was not fucking going there. There were subjects, and that early part of his childhood, he was not fucking touching it. He wasn't going there. I don't know, in retrospect, you just can't help but say to yourself, was this a case right here where he was just blindsided by the line of questioning? I mean, it really does come off that way. You would like to assume so. And look, I hope, for what it's worth, I hope Moxley has tackled that particular subject in his book. I would love to just, more of an expanded thought, especially now that time has passed and everything. I would love to. So I hope that book is as more open as his interview with Stone Cold. Otherwise, could you just imagine that? Growing up in Cincinnati, I had it pretty tough, but so does everybody. That's the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2, getting into the wrestling business. Yeah, I was watching TV one day. Parents were on vacation, and they left me home alone with a babysitter. Fucking drag. So I ad for a wrestling academy, and I said, hey, that'd be pretty cool to fucking do, because I like doing all that cool flippity shit. End of chapter 2, right? So you hope that it's... Look, not for nothing, but apparently the book is about, I think it's about 290 pages, this book. So you also can't help but wonder how much of that is photographs and all that. But, hopefully it's a good read. I'll bite. I'll definitely bite. We already talked about the TNT championship match. We pretty much had opened up the show talking about that, so there's really no need to rehash that yet again. But stellar episode of Dynamite. Great storytelling, nice, good, fun approach that they had with this episode. I like the pacing of it. I like the overall structure. And not as chaotic as it was in the previous months. You got an interesting report that's floating around there where apparently Tony Khan has apparently taken in more of the responsibility. He's taking in more of the reins, and that Kenny Omega, Bucks, Cody, all those guys, yeah, they may be EPs or EVPs, but it's only in name. It's actually Tony Khan that's pretty much now more than ever more hands-on with everything that's going on. And I mean, if that really is the case, then you just can't help but say to yourself, okay, well, that explains why the show feels better and better paced, better structured and everything, because Tony Khan is being more hands-on with everything that's going on here. So very curious to see where this next chapter goes between MJF and Darby Allin. For sure, Miro, Sammy, because I just feel those guys are honestly getting started there. This was pretty good. Good tribute as well. Definitely a good tribute as well. So hopefully you guys kind of now understand when it comes to this particular episode why they did what they did with Brodie Lee. Now, not for nothing, but I did look up when Brodie's birthday is coming up. And it looks like his birthday, I got to actually look one more time, but I think his birthday this year falls on a Tuesday. Let me just jump ahead to December real quick here. No, his birthday is on a Thursday. It's looking like, let me just confirm real quick here, because there's a point that I'm trying to, his birthday is on a Thursday. So most likely, it's safe to say that on that Wednesday, December 15th, Dynamite, there is probably going to be some type of a memorial episode, something along those lines, where AEW is going to do something. I know some of you guys may be wondering, why didn't AEW just, why not just in December? Well, considering everything that was going on, this was AEW's first time doing an AEW event in that part of New York, which was essentially John Huber's backyard. I mean, it made a lot of sense for them to do that, and not to mention the whole foundation, the launch of that, and then not to mention the documentary that was released at that Movie 10's theater. So, I mean, why not just make it be a Brodie Lee tribute episode? Look, they can easily go back, and I think they will. I truly believe that they will do that episode on Wednesday, December 15th, or hell, maybe even on that Friday's Rampage. And they'll definitely do something in his memory, whether it be some type of a tournament, you name it. I definitely feel they're going to be doing something pretty special for the guys. So don't just look at tonight and just think they're going to be one and done. No, they're going to do even more stuff in his memory, for sure. I want to take this time out, give you guys a friendly reminder in case you haven't already done so already. Please utilize that superpower you got. Hit that like button. When you do that like button, man, the more people that hit that like button, you really help spread the word more about our content and really help make this episode and the channel itself be more discoverable for folks to check out. So definitely do that. Appreciate that in advance. Let's talk some key points with NXT for this week. Just key points. I don't want to do a full review on NXT for this week. Look, the B-Fab taking on Elektra Lopez match, I actually enjoyed that. That was a damn good, hard-hitting match between both of those women. I thought B-Fab particularly held herself extremely well. And I got to tell you, man, in regards to Elektra Lopez, Lord have mercy. That is one fine-ass, thick-ass woman. Y'all got to forgive me. I mean, but it's very seldom do I come across a female wrestler You know, normally I'm just match. All right, give me the match. Hey, that was pretty good, you know, right? Man, Alexa Lopez. Jesus. Damn. And she thick. Ooh. Lord have mercy. Pretty face. Thick waist. Ooh. Lord have mercy. Simply beautiful. That's all I got to say. Simply beautiful. But a damn good, hard-hitting match between those girls. You know, they went above and beyond, I got to say. My expectations as far as this match, it wasn't extremely low, but I wasn't expecting that much. And I mean, what these girls did on NXT this week was just, whoa, very hard hitting. I mean, this was like an almost Extreme Rules quality type of a match, right? I mean, that's how good it was. So mad props to both of those girls. They went about a little over 10 minutes there. Good matchup. Again, I only want to talk about key points. The women's tag team title matchup, Toxic Attraction taking on Io Shirai, Zoe Stark. Mandy Rose was pretty much the cheerleader in this matchup. She did not participate in this tag match. Io Shirai, Zoe Stark going over, retaining their tag titles. Look, honestly, going into this match, I was expecting a title change. Honestly, I was. It just feels like we've been at such a stalemate with Zoe Stark and Io Shirai these past several weeks. You know, there's nothing. There's nothing. The horrendous segments going on with them, just it just ain't gelling for me. And if it were to ever come down to a situation where Zoe Stark is maybe the one that turns on Io, I could honestly care less, you know. And look, I want to make sure I'm being consistent here as best as humanly possible. I know some of you guys may probably remember, well, damn, Lee, you were pretty high on Zoe Stark and everything. Well, what the hell happened? I'll tell you what happened. Whatever momentum Zoe Stark had going on for herself, it just pretty much got derailed. And you just, okay, we're just going to put you in this tag team and yeah. And it just has not, you know, it's so weird when you really stop and think about this, because this is a much deeper problem. And I don't want to be long-winded with this, but marinate on this for a little bit. What does the women's tag division in NXT and the women's tag division on Raw, on SmackDown, all have in common? They're weak. They are extremely weak. You see exactly, as far as the attention, where everything is going on certain superstars, getting the camera time, getting the matches, and all of that other stuff, what championships are of great importance. You see all of that at full display. And one of the weakest areas for WWE as a whole is their women's division, particularly when it comes to the women's tag division. Same fucking trademark calling card in NXT is the same trademark calling card you're seeing when you're watching Raw and or SmackDown. And it's quite sad. It is quite fucking sad. It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. And, you know, here's the sad part. The women, they're phenomenal. You got some really great, talented fucking women. But the shit storylines that they have been given, you know, here you go, work with that. I don't know what's been more unbearable. The alliance of Rhea Ripley and, what's her face? Nikki Ash? Zoe Stark? Io Shirai. I couldn't tell you. It's like a fucking photo finish. It's like a damn tie. I really can't tell you. So to see this toxic attraction thing that's going on, I'm loving it. I'm really, really, really loving it right now, and this whole new demeanor that's come about with Mandy Rose. You know, I'm not even thinking about the whole color hair change that she's now done and everything. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just thinking about just this whole new demeanor that Mandy Rose has going on and aligning herself there with Gigi Dolan and I can't think of the other girl's name right now. And I'm checking my notes. I can't think of the other girl's name. I would actually need somebody's help. Jane is the one I'm thinking of. I'm liking that pairing. I'm really liking that pairing. You know, they kind of give me a nice throwback to certain female stables from back in the day. I know a lot of people were talking about the PWO. I actually saw that name floating around a little bit. You know, I'm also reminded of Valkyrie. You know, I know for a lot of people they're thinking PWO. You know, Valkyrie is a stable that just instantly came to mind when I've been seeing what's been going on there with Toxic Attraction these past couple of weeks, and I honestly feel that as far as the numbers game goes, I'm making a bold prediction right now. There's going to be a couple of more girls that's going to be added to that stable. I can see that stable becoming a 5-woman stable. So and trust me, so now you understand, you know, when I say, no, I'm kind of getting that Valkyrie vibe. Now you kind of feel exactly, especially if you know your women's history and all that, you know exactly where I'm coming from. Great fucking video promo by Braun Breaker, channeling that fucking dad of his. I fucking loved it. He had the promo of the night for his video package. I love that. Just the intensity, the look in his eyes, the mannerism, the execution. I loved it. I love that fucking video package, man. You want a friend? No. What was it? What was it that he said exactly? He said, "I'm not here to be your friend. You want a friend? Get a dog." Right? That's the way he delivered that. Just fucking badass. Yeah, I see a lot of upstock, lot of upstock, in that young man. He's definitely coming along there. I'm looking at the rest of NXT again. Just key things I want to talk about in regards to NXT for this week. Looks like next week LA Knight is going to be taking on Odyssey Jones. That should actually be a pretty good matchup. Ridge Holland had faced Kyle O'Reilly. You know, was fairly decent for what it was worth. But almost the same kind of execution and all that for the Cruiserweight title match that happened on this episode earlier in the night. Roderick Strong had retained against Grayson Waller. You know, it's just kind of one of those, you know, it was so. Raquel Gonzalez retaining her women's championship against Frankie Monet. Definitely wasn't expecting a title change right here, but I think what was probably the buzzkill / spoiler was the fact that we didn't see Toxic Attraction win the NXT tag titles. So factoring that in, and also factoring in they had brushed past Raquel Gonzalez and Mandy Rose. Remember what she said? Mandy Rose said, looks good on you, but it would look better on me. So thinking about what happened in that NXT women's tag title match, the outcome, you're just kind of going right here. Safe to say Toxic Attraction is going to get involved, whether or not they're going to put the screws to Raquel and also lay out Taya Valkyrie, let their presence be felt, kind of remains to be seen. But, you know, for what it was worth, Raquel was able to definitively defeat Taya Valkyrie, but wasn't really a good matchup, I have to say. And I'm a big fan of Taya Valkyrie and Raquel. I'm also a big fan of Raquel, but this wasn't I've seen better matches from both women. I'm being blunt. I've seen better singles matches from both women. And this, I won't say it was brutally bad because it wasn't anything along those lines, but I don't know what more I could say to you guys about that matchup there. Post-match, Monet and company, they got their asses handed to them by Toxic Attraction. They also singled out Raquel Gonzalez, beat the crap out of her. So what happens right here, like going forward? Is it going to be a case right here where adversaries become allies in Frankie Monet and Raquel Gonzalez as far as combating Toxic Attraction? Is that maybe what's going to be happening here? You kind of can't help but wonder that. One of the coolest highlights of the night, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I usually frown upon it, but I didn't mind seeing Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell's little honeymoon. That was actually kind of funny. Johnny Gargano and Johnny Gargano. Oh, Lord have mercy. Johnny Gargano just has the fucking perfect comedic timing, I gotta say. But to see him and Candice LeRae, they're spying on Index, trying to figure out what they're gonna do, and Gargano knows that, oh man, we got to stop them because they're having too much fun. This could lead to them fucking, and him actually trespassing in their hotel room, trying to figure out a way to, I guess, stop them from fucking. I don't know what the hell was going on there, but to see that big ass long list of condoms, just condoms after condoms after condoms, hiding in that whole closet, that was just funny. That image alone where Dexter Lumis just opens his eyes and he's looking right at Gargano, throws the thumbs up, but also busts out all those condoms. It's like, I don't know why, but it's just kind of one of those, don't worry, Dad, I'm going to take good care of your daughter. And it's just kind of one of those type of vibes, man. But nice little decent NXT. It was definitely slightly better than last week's show. I'll definitely give it that. They slowed it down a bit more. I'll definitely give them that. And as you've come to expect by now, when it comes to these Gargano Index segments, it's either going to be a hit or a miss. This week was actually a hit, pretty funny in a lot of aspects. That Tony D'Angelo, wherever the fuck his name is, Olive Garden, Sicilian pizza, meatballs and spaghetti, Italian bread. I could care, Sopranos one. I could care about that. I care less about that bullshit. I don't really see that going anywhere. To be perfectly honest with you. Other than that, let's talk about the draft, because the draft is going to be going down on Friday SmackDown. And sadly, as much as I would like to be live with you guys after SmackDown goes off the air and, commenting about the draft, I'm going to be reviewing AEW Rampage. I'm going to be providing live coverage and doing the review on 401 Mania that Friday. So by the time I'm done with all of that, it's going to be well past midnight. So it doesn't make sense to pop up, pretty much beginning of Saturday morning, talking about that. Because, I don't have to go in too early to work that Saturday, but I do have to go in early. I'm just thinking, so that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So instead, I'm actually going to be talking about the draft itself, like as far as the end results. I'll be talking about it on Monday's show. But as far as what I think is going to be happening on the draft overall, who might be going where and everything, I know some people made like an entire whole show out of it and everything. There's no need for me to even do that. And that's not me being lazy. It's not. I am definitely thinking that following up on what I said Monday, with Drew McIntyre coming out there pointing that sword at Big E and everything, I just kind of feel as though, they kind of spoiled that. You just kind of get the impression that Drew McIntyre, he is not going to be drafted. I think Drew McIntyre is definitely going to stay on Monday Night Raw. As far as like definitively who I see being drafted to where, just looking at the SmackDown side of things, I can definitely see from the SmackDown side. That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one, man. I don't know. I'll tell you what. Let me look at the list real quick. Here. Let me look at this roster here. Okay, here we go. And something that was revealed on this week's NXT too is that the NXT roster, they're going to be up for grabs. All right, so I'm looking at the Raw side. Let's go ahead and let's look at the Raw side. I'm looking at the male wrestlers right now. Going from Raw to SmackDown, I can see Jason Riker moving. I can definitely see Jason Riker moving. Me personally, though, as much as I would love to see Jason Riker go to SmackDown, I'm also thinking about Elias. Remember the vignettes that we've been seeing with Elias? And I even had said a couple of times in the past several weeks, makes all the sense in the world to have whatever's going on with Elias, let him debut this new gimmick and all that over on SmackDown. So kind of keeping that in mind. And I really would like to see whatever Elias has in store next for us fans, this new incarnation. I think it needs all the opportunity in the world to really breathe, really grow and everything. I can definitely see Elias being drafted to SmackDown. I think Jason Riker has done any and everything that's humanly possible. And remember, for longest time there, he was undefeated, until this past Monday and everything. I just think new change of scenery would definitely do him some good. It would definitely do him some good. So I can see Elias and I can see Riker. I can see both of those guys moving to SmackDown. Looking at the rest of the names, what more could you possibly do there with AJ Styles and Omos? So that'd be kind of interesting, because if you were to move AJ Styles and Omos to SmackDown, you obviously are going to have to bring up a tag team in exchange. So, my recommendation, why not Otis and what's the other guy? Chad Gable. Why not move them in exchange? It's kind of something else that I'm thinking about. Bobby Lashley to SmackDown. That, it's screaming to me right now. I don't know why, but I really, really feel that with everything that's happened, and then considering Lashley's got that feud that's going to be happening with Goldberg and everything, I just feel at this point, everything on the Raw side we've seen. My light went out. It's time to recharge that. We've seen just about everything that we could possibly see of Bobby Lashley on the Raw side. That's a big name I can see. I don't really think that would be a shocker for folks, but I can definitely see Lashley going from Raw to SmackDown. Let's see, what else? Looking at some other names here. It's a long shot, but, What about Keith Lee? What about Keith Lee? There's been so much pause and go with Keith Lee. He could maybe a new scenery. Could that maybe help him out? I think so. So look for Keith Lee to be drafted to SmackDown. I'm just looking at the rest of the names. John Morrison to SmackDown. John Morrison to SmackDown. That's something I've been wanting to see now that we've gotten to this point between him and The Miz. Yeah, definitely would love to see him. And hopefully in the process, he can have that breakout moment. I'm looking at the females for Raw. Well, Lacey Evans is inactive. She's on maternity leave. So do we really? I'm not gonna count her. Mia Yim is active. So what's going on with her? You know, it's kind of weird what's going on there. Shayna Baszler to SmackDown. That's one name that's screaming out to me right now. Shayna Baszler to SmackDown. I'm looking at the other girls. Considering everything that's been going on between Eva Marie and Doudrop, I think now more than ever, you need a change of pace, new scenery and all of that. Move Eva Marie. And not for nothing, I think the team of Eva Marie and Carmella, I think that's good for business. I think that's very, very good for business. All right, looking at SmackDown. Looking at the male rosters here for SmackDown. Apollo Crews is jumping out to me off the break. I got to be honest with you. He's definitely jumping out to me. Cesaro is another one, but man, you just know if he gets drafted to Raw, ain't nothing going to be happening. So I would really personally... But then also you're factoring in, well, look at what recently happened to him on the SmackDown side of things. Do you really want to keep him? Right? That's the argument that you can make. Cesaro to SmackDown. Cesaro to SmackDown. Apollo Crews. Commander Aziz. All of them go to Raw. Let me look here. Cesaro to Raw. The Mysterios. That's a toss-up. The Mysterios. Balor staying right where he is. I don't see Balor going anywhere. Street Profits. I like Street Profits right where they are. I like them right where they are. Rick Boggs to Raw. Definitely Rick Boggs to Raw. Riddick Moss just recently came back repackaged. I don't see that. Yeah, I don't see. I can see Robert Roode going to Raw. Is it maybe time to move Seth Rollins? It's a little tricky right there. That's a little tricky right there. And if you were to move Seth Rollins, you know, that could be a serious monkey wrench there for husband and wife, yeah? That's a tricky one. That's a real tricky one. Nah. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that, though. Well, actually, no. Let me think about this. Because Seth got Edge coming back this week, right? Yeah. Nah, Seth is safe. All right, let's look at the female wrestlers here. I got Bianca Belair safe. I got her safe. Naomi to Raw. it just screams that, especially everything that's been happening recently. Naomi to Raw. Shotzi Blackheart to Raw. Toni Storm to Raw. Let's be honest. They haven't been doing shit with Toni Storm. Let's be honest. I mean, that poor girl, now look, granted, maybe something has been going on in her personal life, and, we got to make sure we give her that respected out. But if nothing has been going on in her personal life that has pretty much had her off TV for a bit, and this has just pretty much been a case where mofo's been fumbling the ball big time, Toni Storm to Raw. I mean, you got 3 hours of programming right there, and that's plenty of opportunity to, find some plug and play spots for a girl like her. Toni Storm to Raw. I'm just looking here. There's nobody else I'm seeing here. It could happen. It could happen. Natty screams to me right now. Natty going to Raw. Natty going back to Raw. That screams to me as well. Let's see. I don't see anything happening with Bayley. Yeah. Yeah, so once again, for the women, I'm seeing Natalya to Raw. Shotzi to Raw. Toni Storm to Raw. Tegan Nox. I can see Tegan Nox to Raw as well. All right, let's look at NXT here. NXT. Let's look here. Honestly, Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, put them on SmackDown. Drake Maverick, make it official, put them on Raw. Grizzled Young Veterans to Raw. I'm looking at the rest. Here. Bear with me. Pete Dunne really jumps out to me. Pete Dunne to SmackDown. Kylie O'Reilly to SmackDown. Yeah, I went there. Those are the only potential names that I'm seeing for NXT. I'm not really seeing... Yeah, nobody else is really screaming to me. Like, as far as, like, a lock, like, definitively, yeah, they're going to move. They got the potential of moving. Nobody else. Because all the other names I'm looking at right now, they're pretty much a lock. As far as NXT goes, they're pretty much a lock. And why do I keep getting that stupid page? That's weird. Yeah. All right, I'm looking at the females for NXT. There are no names on NXT for the females I'm looking at. Especially with this new NXT 2.0 that's running around. I'm going through the names as we speak. There's nobody that is jumping out to me. With the exception of Scarlett Bordeaux. Have her go to Raw. officially reunite her with her soon-to-be husband. I mean, that's really the only name I'm seeing right now. You know what? It's a long shot. But no, that would be storyline stupidity. What I was thinking initially was Io Shirai, but she's still one half of the NXT Women's Champions. And had it been a case where they would have lost the titles tonight, or rather on this week's NXT, then you could have easily, but it seems like it's safe to say she's not going anywhere, so you can forget about that one. What about Casey Catanzaro? What about her? I mean, that's one option right there. If you wanted to, if you were to move Natalya back to Monday Night Raw, you're still going to need that in-ring veteran, in-ring female veteran. You could entertain Frankie Monet to SmackDown. I could actually see that. I think she would be pretty damn good on SmackDown. Not to mention earlier, I had mentioned Morrison. Put Morrison on SmackDown. But other than that, there's really no other names I'm seeing right now that could potentially move. So yeah, those are the names I'm looking at. So that was a lot to process, right? I'm not gonna go through all of those names again. I really should have put a list together as we were going, but what I'll do, I will have a section of this be available on YouTube, and then in the episode description, I'll just make sure I include a nice little rundown of all the names that we had just went over here. I told you I wasn't going to be as long-winded as some people would be with theirs. Because, I mean, if you really wanted to do it, you could make an entire fucking show out of the whole draft. But then at the same time, you could also go in a direction of, okay, well, why don't we just do a whole show on the draft, right? Rather than just go with a handful of names. It's like, let's just go with the whole fucking list. Like, I'm not going to do all that. All right. So other than that, it's been relatively quiet, news headline wise. Nothing else has really been going down since last we were on the air. So stick a fork in it. Let's call this show DONE done. I see one of my tweets has been picking up a little bit of steam. I've been calling Arn Anderson Dirty Harry reference. Next edition at this point, that's it. We're not doing any more shows until next week. Patreon members, I've put out 2 episodes of Wrestling with the Topics already for you guys. So patreon.com/RCWR show. Go scoop those up when you get an opportunity. I'm going to be recording and dropping something for Thursday night for our Patreon audience. So definitely tune in for that. And no more shows otherwise for the rest of the week. We aren't going to be back on the air with you guys again, not until Monday, October 4th, 2021, after Raw goes off the air. So in the meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, all that good jazz, so you don't miss out on all future content that comes your way. Everybody that's going to be checking this out for on demand and on the downloads, thanks for the love and support as always. And until next go round, wishing all of y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll catch you guys later. Peace, y'all. Take care.